practical lessons for living with grief. It's been a little less than 100 days since I lost my precious daughter. As you can imagine, it has been incredibly tough. But amidst this adversity, life has taught me valuable lessons about learning to live during a season of grief. I hope you find them helpful even as you navigate the season that you're in. So here's step number one. Yes, it happened. You cannot outdo the event. Acknowledge the fact. Live in the present. What has happened has happened. An important step in grieving well is to acknowledge the event. Denial increases the pain and serves as a catalyst to a plethora of negative emotions. Acknowledgement doesn't necessarily reduce the pain, but it assists in processing it. It ushers a sense of clarity. You cannot change what happened, however tragic it was. The event will definitely change you in some ways, but acknowledging the event is a necessary first step to initiate the healing process. Step two, moving forward is necessary. You don't need to feel guilty about it. Take a step forward. If you can't, take half a step, but move forward. See, it's not an act of betrayal to move forward, but of survival. Life moves forward. It's also important to make a distinction between moving forward and moving on. Moving on, in many ways, is to move without recognizing and processing your feelings. It also implies that you're bottling your emotions only for them to manifest in an unhealthy way. Moving forward, on the other hand, is about grieving well and dealing with your emotions. Please note, grieving is often not a simple start and stop activity. It can be a lengthy process with varying levels of intensity. Moving forward doesn't mean forgetting or pretending the pain isn't there. It's about learning to live alongside it, giving space for both grief and growth. The process can be slow, but each small step is progress. Healing isn't linear, but with intentionality, you can move forward not away from the loss, but with it. Step three, talk about how you feel. It's tempting to suppress your emotions, to keep them locked inside where no one else can see or hear them. But grief that is kept inside festers and can lead to long-term emotional and physical health challenges. Talking about your feelings, whether with friends or family or a counselor, is a way to let out the storm of emotions that is often too heavy to carry alone. Each time you express your grief, whether through words or tears or silence, you release a small part of the burden. Healthy grieving involves giving voice to your pain. This does not make the pain go away, but it lightens it, even for a moment. Surround yourself with those who will listen without judgment. Sometimes you might just need someone to sit with you in silence, acknowledging your pain. Remember, you don't have to have the perfect words. Expressing your raw, unfiltered emotions is a part of the healing process. Number four, memories. Memories can be both a comfort and a source of deep pain. You may find that recalling a cherished memory of your loved one can either make you smile or bring tears. It's important to understand that you have some control over how you engage with these memories. Choose to honor your loved one by focusing on the joy and love that those memories represent. This doesn't mean suppressing the sadness, but acknowledging it. But try not to let it dominate every recollection. Grief can taint memories with a sense of loss. But remember, it's also an opportunity to celebrate the beauty and the significance of the person's life. You can decide to use those memories as a source of comfort, reflection, and connection rather than just a reason for permanent despair. Number five, triggers are everywhere. In the early days of grief, almost everything can be a trigger. A song, a scent, a place, or even a random conversation. It can be overwhelming when reminders of the person you lost appear unexpectedly. Understand that these triggers are not something to fear or avoid. They are a natural part of the journey. These reminders are a reflection of a deep bond that you shared. Grief actually is love, right? That's what grief is. With time, you learn to anticipate some triggers and respond to them differently. Sometimes, what once triggered pain may eventually evoke a tender smile. It's okay to let these moments wash over you. Acknowledge them and remember that each trigger is a testament to the love that still lingers. Number six, waves. Grief is often described as coming in waves, and that description is very accurate. There will be moments when you feel like you're managing well, and out of nowhere, a wave of grief will hit you, and it can be overwhelming. This is not something you can plan for or control, but it's important to understand that this is a part of the process. Allow yourself to feel the emotions when they come, whether that means shedding a tear, taking a deep breath, or simply pausing for a moment of reflection. Like waves in the ocean, grief ebbs and flows. Fighting against the waves only makes it harder. Instead, let it come, experience it, and know that it will eventually recede. Over time, you will learn to ride these waves with more stability. Number seven, shrink but don't isolate. In grief, you may feel the need to withdraw from social activities, to shrink your world. This is perfectly natural and even necessary at times. However, it is important not to isolate yourself completely. Being alone too much can lead to a sense of disconnection, which can deepen your pain. It's okay to step back, to take time for yourself, but be mindful of the difference between solitude for healing and isolation that breeds unhealthy thoughts and emotion. Keep a few close friends around you who understand what you're going through or who will simply be there for you when you need them. Shrinking your circle is about protecting your energy, but don't shut everyone out. Number eight, regret. Regret can be one of the most difficult emotions to deal with in grief. You may find yourself thinking, if only I had done this, or I should have said that. These thoughts can haunt you, creating a cycle of guilt and self blame. But it's important to understand that regret often comes from a place of love and a desire to have done more for the person you lost. Instead of allowing regret to consume you, acknowledge it and try to shift your perspective. Understand that no one is perfect and we often do the best that we can with the knowledge and resource we have at that time. Seeking strength from a higher power, such as God, can help you let go of regret and find peace. Trust in the belief that your loved one knew your heart and your love for them, and that's what matters most of all. Number nine, numbing the pain won't help. In moments of deep grief, you might feel tempted to numb the pain through distraction, whether that's through work, substance, overeating, or other forms of numbing. But numbing the pain only delays the healing process. Instead of avoiding the pain, allow yourself to feel it, to sit with it, to understand that pain is part of the journey. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Trying to numb the pain can create a cycle of avoidance that prevents you from truly processing your grief. The pain may never fully go away, but over time, you will build the resilience to carry it. In fact, With the right perspective, you can grow through the pain, allowing it to shape you into a stronger, more compassionate version of yourself. Number 10, don't be blinded by grief. Grief has a way of narrowing your vision. When you're grieving, it can feel like the loss is the only thing that matters. And it's easy to become blind to people and blessings that are still present in your life. But try to remember that while you've lost something incredibly precious, you haven't lost everything. There are still people who love you, still moments of joy, and still opportunities to connect with the world around you. It's not about diminishing your grief, but it's about expanding your perspective to include the things you still have. Gratitude can be a powerful tool in grief. By recognizing the value of what remains, you honor the life of the person you lost, and you give yourself permission to keep living fully. If you're going through a season of grief or loss, I just hope that these 10 lessons will help to navigate you through this season. I pray that you will grow through your pain because there's so much more in life that is still ahead for you.